Sorry.
And Trisha just joined. Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry I had to re-ask for that information. I reinstalled Windows 10 and it just, anyway, it's been a nightmare.
That's never a fun thing.
Well, Microsoft, the problem is, and maybe y'all have experienced this, is that if you go out to Google and you ask them how to do something, there'll be very explicit instructions on how to do it. The problem is that those were the instructions the way that the program was organized 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And the menus have changed and the way that you get to things have changed, and all it does is cause undue frustration.
Yeah.
So I've had a great deal of undue frustration here in the last little while.
That's not fun.
So, well, it's God punishing me.
What did you do?
That's a long list. You don't want to get into it. Part of my other punishment is this is what my wife gives me to drink to clear out toxins and to cleanse my body.
Yeah, see, mine's a lot better. It's much, much better tasting.
See, you drink what she does. That's she puts cucumbers, oranges, and lemon into water, and then she drinks that with a smile on her face as she hands it to me. I drink this.
I figured that's clearing enough toxins for me.
Well, have you ever used those little patches?
No, I haven't.
Oh, see, my wife's into that one now. So each night before I go to bed, she puts a little patch on my foot, and it's white. And then in the morning when I wake up, it's all black. And she thinks that's sucking all of the toxin out of my. That's sucking all the toxin out of my body into these little pads.
Yeah.
I'm slightly skeptical. Can you tell?
Just a little bit. You can do the same thing with an onion. They say if you have a cold, cut an onion up and put it by your bed. I don't remember if it's red or white. Put it by your bed, and it's supposed to suck a lot of those toxins out of the air as you breathe them out. So you don't breathe them back in.
I'm afraid I'm giving that one about as much credence as my wife tells me that if I drop a fork on the floor, that means a male visitor's coming, and if I drop a spoon on the floor, I got a female visitor coming. Is that right? Male, or something. See, she thinks I'm making fun of her. I'm not making fun of her. I like these cultural differences. They make life interesting.
They do. Speaking of which, we're learning a whole lot about that.
And I hope so.
Who would have thought?
So we're right at 10 o'clock then, and I don't want to hold you too much. Who are we missing?
We are missing the boys.
The boys. Why is it always the boys that are late?
Yeah, David, Josh, and Tanner.
What about David?
Yeah, no, don't have David.
And Camille, I think is she here?
Oh, yeah, Camille's too. Yeah.
Okay, so Camille. Oh, she's your editor because she's the one. Boy, I hope she hasn't jumped off a roof or something. I always worry about the team editor.
Well, there's a lot of editing to be done.
And that's the part of it that makes editor the most difficult to do.
Cover.
It's what? Cover what? Yeah. Oh, I'm just a second. My wife wants to sneak past. she's embarrassed. There she is right there.
Funny. Brother Johns, did you get my email? So I got assigned section 5.2 for our group, and I am having a really hard time figuring out where to go to get the information I need.
Yes, Kristen, I did. I got it. Yes, and I will apologize right up front. I have been so busy trying to remedy my Windows 10 problems.
Oh, yeah.
That I haven't got. But I want you to know that you are second only to Ellie in me answering questions. So
Okay.
I will get to it. I've at least got my computer up and running now. And I'll do that. Let's address your question. What is your question?
So I have that section 5.2, which is supposed to be talking about recent political developments in Russia and how those could affect doing business. So I've read all about Putin. I know all this different stuff, but I can't quite figure out what the answer is to that. So I was wondering if there's, Nikki did tell me there's that resource folder. So I've been looking at that today, but I still just don't feel like I'm getting answers.
Well, I wouldn't look too much in that resource folder because that was made 6 months ago. And the way they are now are not the way they are, not the way they were 6 months ago. You could also start out your paper and say, you know, the outcome of this and the significant information is going to be depending upon the indictment of Donald Trump. And that's still up in the air. So, and I hope I didn't just offend anybody. I don't see any everywhere, and welcome back to the USA hats or anything like that. But that's going to be the problem right now with both Russia and China. China's having the same problem. And that is that political situation is changing on a daily basis. And so a week ago, there was only a hint in the air that the negotiations for the Trump Hotel had extended into the actual time of campaigning. That's going to make a big difference with Trump's attorney. I used to have a lot of respect for Giuliani, but now I've getting to where you can't believe Giuliani either, because he says one thing 2 weeks ago and then he changed it a week ago, and now yesterday or the day before he's changed it again. And so that's going to make your life, Kristen, really difficult to do. So what I would do, what my suggestion to you would be, is to put down there that as of the writing of this paper, and then write down what you've got.
Okay.
Because if you try to keep that update, you're going to have to cut it off at some point. It's kind of like the editor of a newspaper that calls down to the reporter and said, look, I have to have your final copy by 11 o'clock because we go to press at 11:15. So that's kind of what you're going to have to do here.
Okay.
You, of all of the people in the whole class, next to the editors, you and whoever's got that same section in China is going to be having the most difficulty in keeping up and providing the information. So just in you and I talking here, I can tell that you're keeping up on it. You're understanding that things are changing and the implications of those. And I don't know that I would make any, at this point, I don't know that I would make any conclusions or even any recommendations other than let's hold on here, you know, let's not jump into something, and let's hold on here for another couple of weeks to see what happens.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yeah, yep, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, because I don't want you worrying about, oh my gosh, I'm going to put this in my paper, and by the time Brother Johns reads it, it's going to be out of date.
Right.
I know that that's going to happen. Other problems, questions, anything dealing with the paper, any problems that you're running into in answering or formatting, anything.
So one of my questions, I'm trying to find the specific spot on it. Let me just go down to the actual paper real quick. Okay, there is a section in there, and I'm sorry, I don't see it right off the bat, but it asks for our recommendation. And Kristen, do you remember where that is?
Yeah, I was just thinking.
You're going to have it on just about every one of the on the very last question of that section.
Yeah.
It'll say, you know, what are your conclusions, thoughts, and recommendations. Conclusions, cautions, and recommendations.
Right. So in that asking for recommendations, it basically, I'm sorry, I have to find the right one because it was a very specific question and I was concerned about how it got put in the paper.
Take your time and ask the questions because I want to help you, you know, to do it right.
It's towards the end. Okay, section 6.5.
Okay.
It's after we've been analyzing basically doing business in there, you know, the costs and the judicial effectiveness and all that fun stuff.
Okay, so we're talking then on the economic freedom indicators.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. So section 6.5 asks for your conclusions. And I thought I remembered from the orientation where you said this is where you want us to put in whether we're going to recommend going into business, you know, branching out into Russia, or recommend holding back. Did I remember that wrong, or?
Well, you remember the generalized example that I've given. So let me be specific with 6.5. In this one, what you would be doing is saying, it is recommended that we take into consideration the bureaucratic process that will be necessary and the length of time that it will require to officially establish a business. That will need to be kept in mind as we make plans, as we make our timeline plans. See, because really that's what you're doing there is deciding, if I'm going to go into business, how long is it going to take me? It may take 6 months during that. And particularly in Russia, you could also put down that we continue to closely monitor the political situation and adjust our company's actions accordingly due to the fluidity. Normally, I don't like to use that word, but that's really what you've got going here is a very fluid situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be one of your recommendations to the boss, is that I can't give you a recommendation right now because things are changing too much.
Sometimes minute by minute.
Yeah. No, you're fine. And you know, just say, but I do recommend, or not I do, but it is recommended that we closely monitor the situation and be prepared, have contingency plans in place, and be prepared to adjust our actions based upon whether Donald Trump's in jail. You know, something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. That helps.
Other questions?
Excuse me, boss. You have a text message.
That wasn't a question. Anything else that I can help you with? Let me do everything I can so that you get an A on the paper. So.
Okay. So in 7.1, this is again where it's talking about the economic, regulatory, and things like that.
Right.
The first question it asks us to compare the starting a business, and there's a whole lot of data in there. I mean, you could write an entire paper just on that right there. And so in an effort to make it more concise and readable, I just kind of did a really broad overview and then put a chart in there comparing the different. Is that okay, or do you want me to actually spell it out?
You actually get good points for that. I'm a visual person, and if I can have a chart that tells me length of time to establish a bank account, 1 day. Russia, 6 days. Steps in establishing a bank account, and what it is. Length of time for the Department of Commerce or the Business Regulatory Department to review and approve the paperwork. In the United States, that's 45 minutes. In Russia, I'm going to guess that's 3 weeks. So that's the kind of stuff. But yeah, you can be concise and you don't have to go into a whole lot of detail. And charts are really very good. In the last 2 meetings that I've had, I've kind of given some business tips to things that will help you to do better in business. They may not be directly related to the rubric, but this is one of those. Let me just tell you, one of the best vice presidents I ever had was a woman by the name of Debbie Brown. And one day I was having to prepare a briefing for some executive vice presidents of American Express that were flying in from New York. And she called me into the office. I'd been preparing the presentation. She called me into the office and she said, "What are you going to say to this particular person and how are you going to present it?" And I very proudly said, "Well, here's the slides I'm going to use. Here's how I'm going to make the presentation." She turned around behind her and pulled out a 3-ring binder, and in it was listed by name every one of the executive vice presidents of American Express and all of the division heads. And she opened the page up to that particular person and said, it was a she, and she said, she's a very visual person. She likes color on her slides. She likes this. She likes you to see. Now, some people, when you're briefing, they like you to tell them your conclusion first and then to substantiate it. And others like you to tell the story and then come up and give the recommendation at the end. And I don't remember what hers was, but I had done it the opposite way. And she said, so I would flip that around and do it a different way. So it's really important that you understand who you are briefing and what they like. If they like facts and statistics, then give them facts and statistics. And tables is the same way. I'm sure that in the page on my briefing book, it says use bullet points, tables, and visuals, because that's the way you get your point across to me. So do what you think that, and since I know your vice president personally, I can tell you that he likes bullet points, charts, and visuals.
Okay.
One other thing that's not relevant to this, but it was one of the points that I gave out to the other team because they were asking some questions that related to this. In regards to your email, the chances are that what you guys are used to doing is when you get an email, you just hit reply, type out your thing, and then hit send. And so what happens when you do that is that 6 months ago, your friend wrote and said, "Are we still having lunch today at 12 o'clock?" Now, that thing you have replied and sent, replied and sent, replied and sent, and now you're talking about closing a multi-million-dollar deal on a building down in Manhattan, and the subject on the email still says, "Are we going to have lunch today?" And so when you are going through and trying to find, I know that she just gave me the price on this. I wonder where it is. And you're certainly not going to be looking under, "Are we still having lunch today?" And so when you change topics on an email professionally, you need to change topics on that email line as well. The other thing that you want to try to avoid is to having multiple, I forgot what they're called, email strings. Okay, so what would happen is that you might be talking about the price of the building and you send it to 3 different people. And those 3 different people, instead of hitting reply to all, just hit reply to you. And now back it comes to you. And if all 3 of them do that, now instead of 1 email, you've got 3 that are going out. Now, in today's business world, we're getting more and more away from that. And we're able to use different tools that prevent that from happening. And I haven't talked to you about that. Are you guys, what are you using to communicate with each other?
Excuse me, mostly text message. A couple of us have signed up for the Microsoft Office, or Microsoft Teams, I'm sorry, that you had recommended.
Yeah.
One piece of feedback that I have, since I know you're looking for feedback, is when I downloaded that to my phone, I started getting pop-ups like crazy. So there may be something in the settings that I can adjust on that, but it keeps popping stuff up from Microsoft.
Yeah, go into your notifications and change that, because that's one of the things that I had to do. Now that I've reinstalled Windows 10, I have to go back and change all of my notifications, because every time that something comes up, I get a little thing that slides out from the lower right-hand corner, and for some reason, Mighty Text sends me 3 different notices that I've got to text, and I get little dings and bells, and somebody sings a song, and I know exactly what you're saying. You just have to go in and kind of play with that and do that. The report that I'm getting back from the other 2 teams, I haven't hit all of them and asked them a specific question, but the 2 teams that I've used have liked Microsoft Teams. And they felt that it was much more effective than, what was it called, Google Docs and email. And one of the things, in case you haven't noticed this yet, one of them said their biggest compliment or their biggest yahoo for Google Teams is that when they were using Google, from Microsoft Teams, was when you were using Google Doc, you're using it in the Google Doc format. And then when you submit it, you have to change that over into the Microsoft Word and submit it. And then a lot of the times that messes up the formatting on the paper. And so if you're using Microsoft Teams, you're staying in Microsoft Word, and it doesn't cause that problem. They were real happy with that, and so I'll pass that on to you.
Okay, thank you.
The negatives, there's been very few negatives. I'll keep yours in mind and write it down, because I'm not trying to talk you into using Teams. I want to present you, and this is the way that you should do all of your business correspondence, is that you present both sides or all 3 sides of an argument, and then you can make a recommendation, and then you let the person make up their own mind. So I'm having to testify in court next Thursday, and the defense attorney, or no, the prosecuting attorney, is writing me and telling me what to say. And I'm writing back and saying, I can't say that. And he said, well, in our conversations, you said this. And I said, yeah, and I'm willing to say that. And he said, well, that translates to this. And I said, no, it doesn't. And so that's the reason that you want to do the same thing in a business paper, is you're not trying to make up the mind of the vice president. You're trying to be an extension or an arm of the vice president and gather all of this information. And then based upon your observations, you can provide a recommendation. That doesn't mean that that's what he or she's going to do. but at least it gives them the benefit of hearing both sides of the argument. That's what you need to do. When you put somebody in charge, or when you are doing research, don't just go out and research one source. Research 2 or 3 sources and try to find resources that think different things. That's how you discover, and that's how you learn, and that's what this life is all about, is learning. Not being a sheep that just follows somebody around and does what they tell you to do. Okay, last chance. Any other questions? Any way that I can help you at all? So I want you to get an A.
You want to write it for us? No, I'm just kidding.
That's a question.
Well, I've got a little Santa Claus outfit, and I try to get into that when it comes to final grading. And sometime I'm in a bah humbug mood. Go ahead, Dick.
Brother Johns, I do have a question. It's kind of a little more of a personal question that I want to ask outside of the group. Do you want me to just Zoom you after this, or?
Yeah, I'm going to be free, well, at least reasonable, for the next 30 minutes.
Okay.
And I'll be in my office.
Okay, I'll go to that Zoom then in a little bit.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for your time. Don't be afraid to drop by the office and ask any questions that you got.
All right. Thank you, Brother Johns. I appreciate it.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. That was helpful.
Yeah.
That was really helpful. I was so glad that he gave us that answer, that it doesn't have to be hard stuck, because it is. Everything's so fluid right now.
Well, yeah, and I've been like stressed about my part, because I'm like, I don't even know, but but based on that, I'll quickly write that section and add it to the document.
Yeah, definitely.
So
awesome.
Okay.
Do we want to kind of go through the document together? I kind of feel like we need to before we summarize everything up.
Yeah.
Or what are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, we can do that. Is the newest link the one that was sent to the BYU, or the Gmail? Just trying to decide which avenue to go find the new link for the Google Doc.
For the Google Doc?
Because it seems like I've seen him like in both of my emails, and I'm just trying to figure out which one to jump in real quick and grab.
I'm not sure which one it went to yours. Let me pull up the email real quick.
Okay, I'll start looking around.
I'm just pulling it up.
Do you guys mind if I step out for a few seconds and go talk to Brother Johns for a sec?
No, go do that. We'll be
Okay.
here.
Shouldn't be too long. I'll be back.
He's Zoom hopping. Nikki, what is your Gmail address again?
Have to unmute it, sorry. It's nikki.maxon@gmail. I did pull something up.
I just pulled up the email and it looks like it was sent to
Drive.
you.
Project 1, eliminate. Okay, I think I have it. If there's already comments and stuff off to the side,
Yep, that's
then I
it.
think that this is the newest one. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure that I'm looking at the right one.
Yeah.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, where is Brother Johns? Because, I mean, not like right this second, but when I was looking at it, he sent an email and it said like 10 o'clock somewhere. So I'm guessing he's like in a totally different time zone.
He's in the Philippines.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I'm like, he's like, it's 10 o'clock. And I'm like, not quite, but.
Right.
Yeah. No, he's in the Philippines. It's actually 10 o'clock in the morning there.
Oh.
Okay, because that's what, so like 9-something a.m. when he sent an email. I'm like, what? Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. That's funny.
Goodness.
Oh,
Okay.
fun.
Well, I'll throw it on mute and then just, I guess, I don't know.
Does somebody want to share their screen so we kind of look at it together?
Yeah, I can share. Oh, hold on. Let me. Find the right one. I have way too much open. Okay.
I'm just going to text Camille back real quick.
Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna make that right. It's HOFS, yes.
Brother Johns is talking. My daughter sitting here trying to tell me something that she needs for cheer, and I'm like, just go away.
Oh yeah. I know.
She's like, if I stay out of the view of the camera, I can still talk to you, right? I'm like, no, go away. Bye-bye.
That's funny. How old is she?
She's 15.
Oh yeah. I know. My kids don't quite understand that either. Like when I'm here, I'm not to focus on anything but the computer. But
A lot of times I can multitask because it's not something that requires all of my attention. But this
right, when he was talking and telling us that.
I didn't want to seem disrespectful to look like I wasn't paying attention either. I'm like, just
Yeah. So funny. Okay, so I did read through I only went through like the first 3-ish pages, but I thought all of this part was really good. Who did this? Was that you, Trisha?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
All I see is your BYU main page. Is that just me?
No.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Oh.
Okay, I just didn't know if you still we didn't the paper yet.
Yeah, it's sharing what you have up.
My view. What do I have? Oh dear, am I showing you something that shouldn't be?
Well, hop on your Facebook together. There you go.
Okay, is it sharing the paper?
It is, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, I thought all of this part was really good. I just made one change that E was left off, so I just added that.
Thank you. That was driving me crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out why it kept underlining in that one
Oh, right.
everywhere else. And
that weird
E. Stared at something so long you just can't see it.
Right. It's like, yep. I do that all the time. So anyone else have any comments or suggestions on that part?
I think the layout is like perfect. Like in bullet points, it's exactly what he asked for. And I love that it's got the chart right there. So I think that this is perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then I just put that in there because like this highlighted part to show what I was supposed to do. And so then anyway, I'm going to take that out now because.
Actually, I think we should probably keep those in until Camille's ready to add the actual.
Oh, right. Okay.
So we can go back and double check. I don't know.
That's true.
That's with me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Keep it. And we'll just I highlighted it so then it would stick out to know easily to like remove it. So, okay. So the citation, yes, on your comment, Trisha. Yeah, that's perfect. So she'll have to change my numbers.
Yeah.
I'll figure out how to reword this. It's so hard to read the information and then try to
it is
not plagiarize and I'm like, I don't even know. So I'll figure out how to reword that.
Okay. And if anybody feels like I'm getting too nitpicky, just throw something at me. It won't offend me at all.
No, do you know, I thought your comments were really like perfect. Like, I think it's good. You brought up good points. Okay. Although I can't see this one. Maybe change it. What did you?
Or it said they prefer to have details, and it's typical that their plans and meetings contain details. It the same sentence, just
yes. Okay, so change it to plans and meetings are very.
Actually, that detail oriented is still in there too, but
Where?
It is just a little, I don't know.
Redundant.
Yeah. So that gives us something.
Okay, I'll look at that and change that.
Okay.
Did my part right here make sense to everyone?
I really liked that.
Okay. I know he said like to point out the main differences, but literally every index except for the one are completely different scores.
We're almost polar opposites.
Yeah. And so I was like, I can't even really summarize. Like, this is the best summary I could do to get all the information needed. So I was trying to not make it really long, but I didn't know how else to do it. So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You can take charge on this, Trisha, and I can just scroll if you want.
Okay. So
Either way, I'm happy to do whatever. I just
doesn't matter. It's all good. Righty, so 3.1. Let me just pull up the criteria for that again. All right, 3.1. My Canvas is so weird. Anything that has a rubric on it, it will not let me scroll down to the bottom of that page and stay on it. It'll let me scroll down for about 3 seconds, then pop back up to the top. So I finally just printed up a copy.
Oh, that is interesting.
Mine does the same thing. I thought I was losing my mind. Okay.
Oh.
I'm so glad.
I knew I was losing my mind. It's just that's happening too.
Okay, well, good to hear. I'm not the only one.
No, you're not. Alrighty, so for 3.1, we're supposed to explain briefly the following global business culture skills: communicating versus explicit versus implicit, evaluating direct negative feedback versus indirect, and disagreeing confrontational versus confrontational. I'm sorry. And then scheduling is structured versus flexible. I think we did a good job of getting everything in there. I'm thinking we may just need to reword it a little bit to make it a little bit more professional sounding.
Yeah, I did that one. I did 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3, and yeah, I agree. The wording needs to be more professional.
I like how you have just the little bullets, though. It breaks it up a little bit.
I tried to make it at least organized. Maybe not professional, but organized.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I feel so badly for Brother Johns when he has to grade these. I cannot read through the entire paper in one sitting. And half of that is my writing. Like, how are you going to do this for all these groups? Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
Well, Matt, I can try and reword some of that info. I read over it and was adding a couple of thoughts, but I'll dig into it and see if I can.
Yeah, I saw that a little later down there. Yeah, and you're like kind of the we recommend part. That was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, we recommend that.
That was really good. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for that, Josh.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so next part, 4.1. What are we trying to do? I should have numbered these pages. 6.3, there we go. Okay, so discuss bargaining strategic tactics.
I'm just going to highlight those for Camille so she knows to take it out.
Yeah, I think this is good.
I have a quick question. On if you scroll down just a little bit, like on that 4.1 where you highlighted it.
Yeah.
Does that mean that 4.1 wasn't answered, or that the answer below is 4.1 and 4.2? I mean, I don't know if that makes a difference. I'm just curious, like, if we have to specifically like answer each one at a time, or if we're going to take all that out of there, then it probably won't really matter, will it?
I think we should still keep like the like this, so then it's
Okay.
organized and he knows like what we're doing. So yeah, who did this part? So should we put like 4.1?
Yeah, that's what I'm just curious. Is like if like once we take out the highlight part, will we know which part is which, or I just didn't know if it mattered or not.
One thing
Yeah.
I've learned, especially with big papers like this, is if they can go through a checklist on the rubric and say, okay, this one, yep, it's answered here. This one, yes, it's answered here. Then you tend to get a higher score
Mm-hmm.
instead of combining them. So maybe we do need to kind of rework this just a little bit to separate it out.
Yeah.
This is kind of hard to separate it out because it flows together so well.
Can we just do like 4.1 and 4.2 and just let it, you know what I'm saying? Like and this whole part is the answer, or that section answering and explaining what needs to be.
So what if we did 4.1 dash 4.2 and then like the dot, what is that? I don't even know what that's called. Semicolon, colon, I don't know. Like,
Colon, right?
like whatever, yeah, that thing. Whatever the dot is.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if we
Yeah.
want like separating them, then maybe that, I don't know if that's aesthetically pleasing or not, but.
Well, I think if Camille because remember, Camille's going to be taking the rubric portions out and putting a heading in. So if she covers both of those in the heading, then we'll be okay.
Oh, right. So should I take that off for right now? And we'll
Yeah,
just,
leave it
Maybe
there so we can see
like
that it's
highlight it so that she knows that we're not like married to that option, but we're giving her an idea, I guess, if she needs it.
okay. Okay, anything anyone wants to talk about in any of this?
I keep
I
muting
gotta tell you that the 5.1 and 5.2, those were brutal.
Yeah, well, I haven't even done 5.2, so I really will finish that tonight and put it in there, but
Yeah.
I have looked at so much stuff and
I know.
have learned a lot, and it's really good, but I still am weary about any answers. I mean, he did help, but
I think honestly, if you basically say exactly what he said to me without like the colorful embellishments, I honestly think just given what I've gained from his personality so far, I think he'll love it. Like if you basically say, hey, you know, it's really dependent upon
what happened?
you know, what really it's truly like it is changing day by day, and to know that he's so okay with that, I think
Mhm.
if you literally
That's
just
huge.
did exactly what he said.
Okay.
He's the one grading it, so I think he'll totally love it.
Okay.
Agreed. Just really quickly, if you guys wouldn't mind taking a look at 5.1, when I put that in, I was trying to keep it brief because there's so much about Russian government structure.
Oh yeah.
I want to answer the question, but I don't want to, again, write a paper about it. Do you guys think that that's enough, or should we add some more in, take anything out? I'd kind of like your opinions on that.
I think it's, I mean, I don't know enough about their government structure to say whether or not you've missed like massively key points, but to me, this seems perfect because it's not too long, it's not too short. I feel like I know generally the structure of it, but I mean, I'm not, professional enough to know whether or not you've like totally missed something. So I
just totally made it up.
You know what I mean? Like, I think it's perfect because, like you said, he has to grade a lot of papers. These are really long and kind of boring. So I'm sure that, as long as you got the main things, like, I think he's like, okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. What? Okay, so they have like, I'm trying to find my notes. They have like, I don't even remember what it's called, but it has all these positions. But I feel like they don't really have any say in that. Like they don't have much say. It's something that starts with a D, Demiova or something. And it's kind of like like
Yeah.
House of Representative people.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the word for it.
But I don't know that, I mean, maybe we do mention it so we know about them.
Mhm.
Okay, I don't know where these notes are.
Okay.
But maybe we
Is there any way
say,
to like throw maybe like a visual chart somewhere in here? Because I've noticed that we had some charts at the beginning and then it's kind of like a lot of wordage, which is fine because we're answering it. But given the fact that he's so visual, I mean, because you know how like they have like, I don't know, what are those?
I like that.
A junction, what's your function? I don't know, like whatever those
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, cartoon type things like explain like our
yes.
legislative process.
Mhm.
Maybe there's something similar to where it's like colorful and fun. So it gets all the information out there, what they call like infographics or something.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking maybe because that will kind of break up the monotony of all the print,
Yeah.
and then hopefully it'll play like right into what he's looking for.
Yeah, and they probably, I'm sure they do have something that shows like president is this, like some chart.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so it's called the
Basically.
In-State Duma,
Okay.
and there's 450 members elected through a closed list, and they serve 5-year terms, and then they have a federation council of 178 members who are appointed by regional governing councils. But I don't, like, from what I read, it doesn't sound like they really have much say in anything ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That was where I was kind of flummoxed because I was like, you know, there's so much more to it, but they don't have a lot of function, and I don't know if that's something that we want to put a whole lot of
Information on,
But
right?
with the org chart, I think that would actually be pretty easy to put that in there.
Yeah.
So I like that. That was a great idea.
I think that thing, Nikki, is called like Schoolhouse Rock or something. Is that it? Okay.
I love that everyone knew what I was talking about, even though I could not think of the name. So
Yeah.
that means we've all been very well educated.
Yeah.
PBS to the rescue.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, okay. So are you gonna find the chart, Trisha, or do you want me to help with that, or?
No, I can do that.
Okay.
I'll find something to stick it in.
Okay, perfect.
Probably won't be until tomorrow because I haven't even looked at the stuff for the quiz that's due tonight.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty easy, I'll tell you that. I got 10 out of 10, or,
Okay, good deal.
and,
Yeah, they're usually not too bad, especially since we
Yeah.
have notes.
right.
It's just going
Well,
to
and it was just everything that we've read about this week, like all those different things. So you'll do fine. But yeah, that's fine if you do it tomorrow.
okay.
Maybe I should put a big picture of Donald Trump and Putin right here. Just say thanks to these two. We don't know.
Well, we got nothing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see what happens. Okay, so 6.1. Oh,
I like how it was initially organized. I added some extra stuff in. Do you guys think it makes it too wordy, or is it okay?
I think it's good because it still breaks it down, like outlines it well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay,
you know what you're reading about.
good deal.
Looks good.
Do we want to, since we're doing bullet points everywhere else, do we want to do this with bullet points as well? I mean, that'd be an easy fix, but.
Well, so I noticed when doing like the EFI, they're broken into like 4 main parts and then 3 subparts. So I think it's almost necessary to kind of do it as it's laid out, just because, or I
Right.
mean, or even do like, I'm not sure, like different types of bullet points, like a star and an asterisk, or like an asterisk and
Yeah.
like a circle.
Like something like this. Let
Something.
me just change it real quick. Just like that.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, just something to give a bit of a distinction between what falls under
Each
rule of
one.
law, what falls under government sizing, things of that nature. And then I did notice it because like the sections below that I had to do relied so heavily on the information I didn't have yet. Okay, perfect. That's why I was curious, is if we had a chart in there, because that's what I looked up was the chart, and I was assuming that whoever had that part would put the chart in. So good deal. Okay, I feel better. I just wanted to make sure a chart was in there somewhere.
Yes.
Awesome.
And are these supposed to be constraints?
Yes, they should be.
I'll just change that real quick. Perfect.
I mean, unless they were trying to, well, extent that government, well, yeah, it should be constraints, but I'm just curious if they were trying to say constraint. I don't know. I didn't write this part, so I'm just assuming that they meant constraints. I think so.
I think so
I don't know
too.
if that flows as well, though. The extent the government constraints effective operation. Maybe we should say restricts or regulates.
Way better. Yes, definitely.
Same right here too.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I assume she'll change all the font to be the same, right?
Yeah.
Because some of these are kind of grayed out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's an easy one to do just right at the very end, is just go through and everything,
Right.
highlight everything.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
That's true.
6-3.
Yeah, we're
Did
missing.
you ever hear back from any of that, of Tanner or Josh? Oh, I guess Josh, you're on the call. And David.
Josh said he had to leave.
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Oh,
Yeah.
I missed that.
I'm here though.
Okay. Who did we assign that part to? Do we know?
It was assigned to all three of them. So did you guys decide among yourselves who's going to work on that, or?
I think we dropped the ball on that one, but I can do that later tonight if you guys would like.
Okay, that would be awesome if we could get that in there.
Okay. I should be able to get that done tonight. If not, I'll probably get it done tomorrow late afternoon if that works.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Are these, I'm confused. Maybe these are not.
The highlight that you're on right now,
Yeah.
that's what it did when I just added the comment.
Oh wait.
So
For right down here where it says section 6.5, and then 6.3 and 6.4, is that 6.3 down there?
no, what that is basically it's saying based on the analysis that you did in 6.3 and 6.4, state your conclusions, your
Gotcha.
cautions, and your
Okay.
recommendations.
That makes more sense. Okay, cool.
So let me see if I can mess with this comment here. This comment right there that highlighted all that, I was just literally just typing down what Brother Johns was saying.
Oh, just now. Yeah.
So yeah.
So based on the,
Oh,
'cause-
okay.
and I was taking
Yellow?
notes too. The
Oh, yeah.
kind of peach one, right here.
Oh, and this side comment over there.
Okay,
The side
there you
one?
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pick out. Okay, I'm just going to highlight likely so it won't highlight the whole thing and put it back in. Just so
Okay.
you have that. So if anybody wonders what that is, I was just
No, that's
Right.
fine.
some of
That's
the words
great.
that Brother Johns was spitting out about how to say we don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I took some notes too. I was like scribbling it down on my notepad.
Okay,
So
Good.
Yes.
And then worst case scenario, we are recording this. If I could just figure out if I could remember how to save it and upload it to YouTube, then we can all look at it again.
And like one of the things that he said that he's not usually a big fan of using the word fluidity, but like you said, it so aptly applies. Like I kind of almost like we need to like stick that in there somewhere, like somehow.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and sorry, like I kind like I mean, as you can tell by like reading those two sections, because you can see how they're so heavily dependent upon other information, I kind of just BS'd my way at first. So I don't know that it really makes any sense. So my feelings will not be hurt if we change any or all of it. It was just like I just needed to get something typed up because I didn't want to like not have something. But yeah, like I wasn't really sure what the previous sections were gonna say. So I'm like, as referenced above.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I did notice that like, so when I did look under that resource thing, under the corruptions resource, I did find that pretty helpful, especially given the fact that Russia is fairly corrupt
Yes.
when it comes to their business practices. So yeah, so that was definitely interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
6.5, I think we need a little bit stronger recommendation. Now that we actually have all the information, maybe we can kind of come up with that.
Do you want me to try to like retype something up and I can put it underneath of it in like a different color, and then you guys want to add stuff, and then I don't know if you want to do like
We can all kind of,
like we'll have the final say, or if we want to just piece it together. However you guys feel.
I think if you want to add anything, put it below, and then we can kind of mix and mesh and reword it all.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we can all contribute. Or if we have like another something to add, yeah, we can all just kind of add.
That's one reason why I really like the comments, is you could put comments in there and it doesn't necessarily change it, so you can still see what it was, but you could also, hey, maybe what about this, or something like that.
Right, right.
Okay. Alrighty, so 7.1. This was one I felt like it was ugly when I put it in, but I'm glad that he said he's okay with us putting the chart in. So I was like, okay, good. I'm just not sure. Should we put the chart right under the area where the area that it's relevant to, or underneath the full section so it's not breaking everything up? I wasn't sure about that.
Can it go right in between the two paragraphs?
It can, yeah, and that's what I was asking you. Should we put it there or leave it where it is?
I think that it wouldn't hurt to stick it in there and just see. But I mean, I think it'd be totally fine if that's where it's more applicable.
Okay,
yeah. You know how it is,
kind of like that.
Yeah, I like that. Because you know how it is. It's like when you're reading something, and if they've got a chart for it, like I don't want to have to get all the way to the end of the page and then try to remember what they said and then go find the chart, like in exhibit whatever. So if that's where it really fits in, then I think for reading purposes, it might be better.
Okay. Sounds good.
Hey, so real quick, I should be able to get the 6.3 done tonight, but I might need a little more help with the wording because I'm not the world's best writer. I can get all the information in it, but like not the world's best when it comes to forming words in a professional manner. So I probably will let our editor know, but
if you want to just throw something together and email it to me, I can work on it while I'm at work tomorrow.
Okay.
I have a phone call I have to make where I know I'm going to be sitting on hold for at least 45 minutes, so it'll give me something to do while I'm doing that.
Hey, well, there you go. Perfect. Okay, yeah, I can definitely get that too.
If you guys want to know, okay, they just do.
Perfect. Yeah, I can definitely get that to you at that time. I'll do it tonight and send it to you tonight, and then, yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, just shoot it over to me because that's one thing that it's weird when I'm at work. My brain goes into work mode, and I have no problems at all writing professionally. When I come home, my brain just like lets down.
I know, that's what happens to me. I'm so good with my work emails, and then school, I'd like struggle.
Yeah.
It's weird. I know the work mode thing. It's real.
Yeah, it was really fun when I worked from home for a few months. I'm like, oh, great. How am I going to do this now? I had to take our den and turn it into an office, so that was actually work for me. So
Yeah, I know.
it works, but anyway. Alrighty. So, Libby, I think one other thing that I noticed is we do need to make sure we have our citations for everything. It looks like we're missing it on quite a few sections. And that's something he's going to hit us pretty hard with.
Yeah, I think I'm missing the ones on mine for the 3.1, 2, and 3. I'll go back and do that tonight too.
Okay, cool. And then also, I am blanking. Who did 7.2? Do you remember? Do we remember?
I think it was Tanner that volunteered for that on our last meeting.
Yeah, it was. It was. Okay. So yeah, he actually put in the statistics for Moscow instead of Russia, which they're pretty different. But I'm wondering if since we have most of those stats up in 7.1, if we could just kind of talk a little bit more generally instead of pulling up stats. And that was totally my fault because he put 7.2 in way before I put 7.1 in. So he didn't have those to look at when he was doing his part.
And I think like Brother John said that he's not really a statistical person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even if we like lost some of, the stats, I think he'd be okay with it.
Okay.
Just my 2 cents.
Okay. So I'll just add this comment.
Sorry, I had to go take my baby downstairs.
Okay.
Ugh. Okay. Now he came back up. And now he's back. Cry.
He's adorable.
So we're coming up against a pretty tight deadline if we're going to get this to Camille to start editing. When do we want to put like the final do or die, everything has to be in?
Is it due Saturday evening or Saturday?
It's due Saturday at 11:59.
Saturday at 11. I would say, for sure, no later than tomorrow, but I know that most people work, so it's like...
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon.
I don't get home from work until about 6.
And are you...
I've got a couple of spots that I need to rework.
So what time zone are you in, Trish?
I'm in Mountain.
Mountain time. Okay. So, I wonder... I hate to speak for Camille. I don't know what her schedule's like, but is 8 too late on Friday Mountain time? Does that give everyone enough time from getting home from work to get everything done?
That's fine for me.
Or is that still too late? Yes.
I think that's good.
I have no idea.
That's still going to be really tight for me, but I will do my best to get that in there.
Well, maybe even 9, because we know that, not trying to sound weird, but I'm sure she's planning on spending a good chunk of Saturday doing it, right?
So
I think that was kind of to be expected. So I think if we have it by 9 tomorrow night,
okay,
everything final, or even 10, I don't know. I guess you could even say 7 a.m. on Saturday.
3 a.m.
Yeah, 3. I like 3. Say 3:33.
All the 3s.
Okay.
No later. So, yeah.
Okay,
So I assume that she knows to expect to spend time Saturday on it.
And I don't have a whole lot going on Saturday. If she needs some help, then I can help her out with that. She was also planning on taking it to the writing lab on campus. I'm not sure how long that will take, but.
Do you think she needs to go to the writing lab?
I don't know. That's what she said she was planning on doing.
Oh, okay.
Writing lab. Has anybody ever used them before?
No.
David, how does that process work? Do you just take it in and say, here, look at this, or?
Normally you come in with some questions. So normally you do your best, like you do pretty much everything you can. And then you go in and say, hey, like, is there any other things? And they like look it over with you and they're like, okay, here's some things, here's things you need to edit and work on. So it's pretty efficient. They ask you to do pretty much everything before you go in though. So like she would do everything and then she'd go in and just double check pretty much.
Right.
Like an hour or so.
Okay. All right. So it's not something where she has to send it to them 3 days in advance and they'll get around to it when they get around to it. And
No. Yeah. You just take it in and they're pretty good. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of my biggest concerns is the citations, because I'm horrible with APA citations. So I can't help her with that part. I can help her with the phrasing and stuff like that, but yeah. Okay, good. So let's say we need to have everything do or die done tomorrow night. Also, one of the things that she needs to turn in is saying who did which sections. So I think if everybody just goes in and puts a comment in by the section that they did, then that would work. And if it's something you collaborated with, then both of you put your names in. What do you think? So good with that? Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Cool beans. All
It'd
right.
be nice to have this done.
So we can start the next one.
I'm sick of Russian politics.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
Just kidding. I'm not. I need a little break from reading about Putin and business and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Good. I think we're good. As soon as I figure out how to upload this to YouTube, I guess is where you have to upload it, then I'll send an email out with the link. And that way, those who weren't able to make it here or had to leave early or, just whatever, or need a refresher, then we can always pull it up and take a look, okay?
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Sounds
Awesome.
good. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks all.
Yep. See
Bye,
ya.
y'all.
Bye.
Night.